Hey guys and girls, Joshy here, BJ on Race Day, back again. You got Joshy, you got Bogan. Bogan, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right, Joshy. It seems the Japanese horses served me all right last week, so yeah, I'm happy again. Always happy to beat that 200 barrier.
Mate, they kept their domination going. Damien Lane had a great ride in the Cox Plate on Ligue Resseur. So, mate, yeah, the Japanese did really well. I only caught a couple of the races on Saturday, being that I work Saturdays, but one of the early races, that Bella Nipotina, hit the front with about 100 to go, got nutted just on the line, and I thought, oh, here we go. Bogan's actually going to get over the top of me. But, mate, you did well. Cracked the 200, I think 213 odd there, so very well done, mate. You had that Ligue Resseur as captain?
Yeah, I did, and that's probably what saved me. Actually, after the Friday night, because I was keeping an eye, I really wanted to get that win over you at least one of these rounds, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get him here. I'm going to get him on the Friday night, and you just came home on the Saturday and absolutely blitzed me.
Mate, I think what we saw last week, obviously the Friday night, we had the Manicato, and the demise of Bivouac. It was an absolute shocker. But, mate, there was very, very few horses that actually raced on this Friday night that most people had. You obviously, with your tactic with the Japanese team, mate, you had a fair few on that Friday night. So you're actually leading at the halfway point after the Friday night. The BJ Race Day League was led by yourself, mate. So well done. But as was expected, and that was even, obviously, you still had Ligue Resseur on the Saturday as captain, but I think that was one of only a couple of horses that you still had on that Saturday, mate. But
that's the way it goes, I guess. When you're leading halfway through the race, you tend to fall apart at the home straight there. That's racing.
That's it. But yeah, guys, last week a bit of a tough one across the board. Plenty of people had Bivouac as captain in the Manicato. Short price favourite, unfortunately, at Death Valley, Moonee Valley, it just got an absolute shocking run. Stuck on the fence, and we did actually mention that in the BJ on Race Day video last week, that was the only danger. That's what could get it beat. It had barrier one. Unfortunately, Karen McAvoy couldn't get it into a better position. He got stuck on the fence the whole way. He got checked in the straight, and he was never a winning hope. Look, he did show enough for me to forgive the run. Much like Flit in one of the earlier weeks where he finished 9th and just couldn't get a thing go his way. Look, I'm thinking the same for Bivouac. So stay tuned shortly. We will run through the teams, but I just thought we'd do a little bit of a recap of last week. So the Manicato started off. Awesome ride on Loving Gabby by Craig Williams. So cracker of a ride. He picked up the first Group 1 there. And obviously, as we mentioned, Ligue Resseur picked up the second Group 1 with the Cox Plate on the Saturday. Castelvecchio, for everyone who picked him at his cheaper price, he paid dividends there. He got 32 points, so plenty of people had him in their team as well. It was a very, very common sort of two-horse selection for that race, and anyone who followed the punt would have done well to have the Quinella too. Beyond that, look, a couple of betting plunges last week. One of them got up, which was on Amangiri. Plenty of people had this horse in their teams. It was in the last race on the Saturday. So a few people would have been going into the last race hoping for a win there, and it duly saluted for punters. Another actual big betting move last week was on a horse that I picked in my team called Madison County. Now, Madison County was backed in from $10 into $6. Started second favourite in that race. They really bet on it well. Now, coming around the home turn, it was 3 wide the whole way in the field. Coming around the home turn, it loomed up, and then it faded like anything. So, look, unfortunately, that gamble from me last week didn't pay off. Only scored me 6 points, but, yeah, you can't really win them all. Look, massive run there last week from Soul Patch. A few people had that in their teams. It was a good cheapie last week. Managed to win the Group 2. Moonlight Maid finished second in that one. That was the horse that I thought was a good thing for the day, but I didn't anticipate Soul Patch. What I did think was that it would beat Battenberg. Now, the 6-4 favourite in that race was $75,000 for Supercoaches. Plenty of people had it in their team, including myself, and it performed pretty ordinary. So a little bit of a surprise for Quinella in that one. And then the other big one last week was the dead heat. There was actually a dead heat in a race. In the Group 2 at Melbourne, the Antler Stakes, La Falaise and Fascino dead heated for first. So there was actually one punter, one of the super coaches who had both horses in his team. And unlike the jockeys where they share the points or something like that, you actually get the full points for both horses. So he managed to pick up 32 points for both horses for that dead heat win. I did think it was a little bit of a dodgy one there because it looked like there was a very, very slight margin for Fascino, but the judge determined a dead heat. And the other one, big one last week, was Karen McAvoy. He is riding absolutely terribly. We mentioned John Allen last week. Karen McAvoy's another one. Anything he jumps on at the moment just isn't performing too well. So he's obviously picking the wrong lines when he runs rides these horses, and he's just not getting the right sort of luck in running. But hopefully he can bounce back this week as he's got a few good rides. But, mate, let's get into the selections for this week. Going to go yours or mine, mate?
Yours first?
Let's go mine. Mine first. All right, guys. First one picked, as you can see there's my team of 10. Before I sort of go through the team, this is easily the hardest week we've had. Most weeks previously, there's sort of, been 15 or 20 horses you could realistically put in your team for a competitive team, I guess, and a stable. Horses that were short in the market that had competitive SuperCoach prices, and you could really fit in that salary cap of 10 horses for whether it was 2 million or above. Now, this week, I actually shortlisted a bunch of horses. I went through all the races, picked out 2, 3, 4 horses in each race, just that I thought were in the market with good chances, some that weren't in the market, and put them in my shortlist. Now, instead of the 15 or 20 that I've been coming up with normally, I came up with 44 horses. Now, the reason for that is we've got so many group races this week. Now, you've got 4 Group 1 races in total, and then the 5th Group 1 for SuperCoach status is the Golden Eagle at Rose Hill. So the 4 Group 1s in Melbourne, you've got the Coolmore Stakes, the Empire Rose, the Victoria Derby, and the Kentala Stakes. So those are your 4 Group 1s in Melbourne. And then your Golden Eagle has been given Group 1 status in Sydney. Beyond that, you've got a couple of Group 2s in Melbourne, a couple of Group 2s in Sydney, and then a few Group 3s in Melbourne as well. So at Flemington this week, all 9 races on the card are group races. So whether it's 40 points to the winner for a Group 1, 32 for a Group 2, or 24 for a Group 3, there are plenty of points to be collected. And then you've got those few races in Sydney as well. So, guys, it's an absolute smorgasbord for group races this weekend. It is what's going to make it the hardest weekend in SuperCoach by far. Look, there will be some great scores this week. There will be guys who crack the 300. My tip is anyone who's sort of in the top 1,000, you are still a chance, but this week you need to crack 300. If you do, you'll find yourself probably in the top 20 or 30, and it'll go a long way to winning this competition. But if you do bomb out this week, guys, that's it. It's all over. The 3 weeks that are left, you're not going to have the kind of points left in the races to catch up. Melbourne Cup Day, you've just got Melbourne Cup and a couple of Group 3s. The rest are all handicap races, so you're not going to get the kind of points that this weekend offers up. So, guys, it may be the weekend to take some gambles. I've definitely got one in my team that's a little bit of an upset. But other than that, I've played it pretty safe, I do believe. So let's start from the top, and you'll see there the first horse at 475,000, Pirata. Now, Pirata came out of the Everest, performed quite well there. I think it ran 4th in the Everest. It backs up here in the Red Zell Stakes. Now, I really basically just like the top 2 in this race, Pirata and Trekking. I did think about having both of them in my team. But the fact that the Red Zell Stakes, even though it actually doesn't have any group classification, it does have group classification for SuperCoach. So it is a Group 2. For 32 points, I definitely wanted to go one of the 2. It was a toss of the coin, but I just think Pirata might be able to turn the tables on Trekking. Trekking ran 3rd in the Everest. Pirata ran 4th. So I think the step up by that extra 100 metres will really suit Pirata. But that said, Trekking's pretty good over the 1,300 and 1,400 metre distances as well. So Pirata, my first one pick. The second one for me is in the Empire Rose. Now, Melody Belle is a New Zealand horse coming over. Now, this is actually its 3rd campaign in Australia. It's actually had a couple of campaigns previously, racing in Sydney and Brisbane. Now, actually, Pirata was one of the horses it beat in Brisbane. Its only win out of 4 starts was in the Brisbane, the BRC Sires Produce Stakes. It was a Group 2 race. This was a couple of years ago. It beat Pirata that day by 6 lengths. And Pirata is one of the best sprinters in Australia. So, look, this horse, Melody Belle, is more known as a miler rather than a 1,200 metre horse. And that's what the Empire Rose Stakes is over, is 1,600 metres. So, look, it's a short price favourite for a big field. I think there's about 16 horses in it. And I think it's around about $3.60 or $4. I think this should be in most people's teams. It really... Look, its record is 14 wins from 24 starts. It's trained by a really good trainer. It's got a good jockey on board. I just think it can really, really get the job done. So probably the first one picked in my team out of everything. There it is there, the contentious one, third on my list, Bivouac. I'm going to forgive him. The absolute bastard. I had him as captain last week. Finds himself as the favourite for the Group 1, the Coolmore Stud Stakes. Now, traditionally a race where the winner of this race, again, like the Everest and like a few other races he's in, has been a sire-making race. What I mean by that is there was a little bit of talk about after Yes won the Everest, that horse became a $50 million horse. Now, it only won $6 million for the race, but when you're talking about sires that serve as studs, this is a huge race for this guy. So everyone's going to want to win this race. I've actually picked 2 horses out of this race. The second horse there is Exceedance at $225,000. Look, Bivouac over its couple of starts that it's been in, I think it's jumped up $75,000. Exceedance hasn't moved. These horses are very, very equal. They've had 3 starts up against each other. Bivouac's won twice. Exceedance has beat Bivouac once. I think it can even up that ledger. I actually think it can win this race, but I do think they'll run the Quinella. Another horse that I've got there is Kolding. Now, this horse is in the Golden Eagle. So that's the race in Rose Hill this weekend. It isn't Group 1, but it is Group 1 for super coaches. So a full 40 points available. We see a few other horses from the Everest back up into this race, like Kate Queen, Classic Legend, and some new superstars come through as well, like the Inevitable. Look, this race is over 1,500 metres. Now, the Everest was over 1,200 metres. Horses like Arcadia Queen are going to enjoy that. Kolding comes through the Epsom form line. So it managed to win the Epsom by a nose from Tiako Shark. Now, Tiako Shark finished 3rd in the Cox Plate. So look, there's some good form lines all around there. But what I do love about Kolding is that it's fit and ready at that distance. A lot of these other horses like Arcadia Queen, Classic Legend would have been preparing for the Everest at 1,200 metres. And even though they can run longer distances than that, I just think that preparation may see them a little bit short of fitness for this race. Whereas I think Kolding is very, very well prepared. Another horse in the race is called Brutal. It started a short price favourite a couple of weeks ago as well. It was the Group 3 race before the Everest, and finished 3rd that day. Was crying out for more distance, so the 1,500 metres will be right up his alley. But priced at $400,000, I've gone a bit more value in Kolding there at $250K. Exceedance, I mentioned, he is in the Coolmore Stud Stakes, and I really, really like this horse. I think its odds are around about $4.80 at the moment is the best that you can get, but pretty keen on him. Look, the next few horses that I've got start to go into the cheaper range. I've got Tori in the first race in Melbourne. Now, this is the Group 2 Tab Stakes. Now, look, this looks an absolute Flemington superstar, this horse. Now, anyone who sort of doesn't follow racing before, Flemington is a really, really big track. Now, this is where they run the Melbourne Cup. There are races at Flemington where they just go straight up the straight. So they don't worry about any turns. They can go as far as 1,200 metres. It's called the Flemington Straight Six for 6 furlongs. And Tori is in this race. Now, a couple of weeks ago, it raced against Santa Ana Lane and Sunlight. Now, these are 2 of Australia's best up the Flemington Straight Six. They probably are not 2 of the best. They are the 2 best. And this horse ran just behind them by a half a length. So before that, he was impressive up the Flemington Straight over 1,200 metres. This horse could be one of Australia's next superstars. So I'm really, really keen on him. He's paying about $2.30 on the bookies at the moment in the first race. I think he can get us off to a good winner, a good start with a win there. The next horse you'll see there is Antilles. Now, Antilles is in the Rosehill Gold Cup. Race run over 2,000 metres. This horse has had 11 starts, 1 win, 1 second, 1 third. Its form line is very average. It's a $4 favourite for the race. I've got no idea why I've picked it, but what I do know is that everything else in this race I don't think is any good. It's a Group 2 race. I just think they're not the class of group horses. So the fact that this horse has come over, now it does say USA there. It is a USA bred horse, but it is from the UK. So it's actually run a fair bit in the UK. It's competed in group races over there against really good horses. I hope it just makes that transition to Australian racing. 2,000 metres for this is perfect. There's a lot of other horses in the race that are stepping up from 1,600 to 2,000. They may find this horse just too classy. So this is my little bit of a risk for the weekend, but I think a lot of other people at 200k will actually risk him as well. The next one is another little bit of a gamble. Vegas Jewel. This is in the second race at Flemington in the Wakeful Stakes, and it comes up against Flit. Now, we've spoken about Flit. In the first week or the second week, whenever it was, he absolutely bombed a win, finished 9th that day, could have won by 3 or 4 lengths. The next start, he started $2.10, and he managed to get a bob-in on the line. Plenty of people had him as captain that day to win by a nose. That was over 1,600 metres. Now, the Wakeful is generally the traditional lead-up to the Oaks, which will be run Thursday next week, and these horses run over 2,000 metres in the Wakeful, and the Oaks is over 2,500 metres. I'm going to risk Flit. I don't think it can run the distance. I think it has the class, but I think at the moment, a mile to maybe 1,800 metres is as far as it can go. Vegas Jewel, I think this is a brilliant stayer in the making. I think in the next couple of years, this will start favourite in a Melbourne Cup. Mark Kavanagh trains this horse. It's bred out of a great sire in Shocking, who won, I think, the 2008 or 2009 Melbourne Cup. It's an Australian bred stayer, and this horse looks awesome. Now, Flit is currently 6-4 favourite, so $2.50, whereas this horse is 5-2, so it's $3.50 at the moment in the market. Now, I'm going to go Vegas Jewel over Flit. I've got actually spare money this week. I've got 100k sitting in the bank, so I could easily go Flit instead, but I think Vegas Jewel will get the money. Now, the next one is the biggest sort of contentious decision in my team, and that is Long Jack. Guys, this horse, much like Thought of Time, which is my captain for the week, are both in the Amy Victoria Derby. Now, the Victoria Derby, I'm pretty sure it's actually longer running than Melbourne Cup, but 2,500 metres. Much like the Oaks, this is for the boys though. So the Oaks on Thursday next week is for the fillies. This is for the Colts and Geldings. So this horse, Long Jack, last start won the Geelong Classic, over 2,200 metres, and was inconvenienced, got blocked for a run, got out late, and absolutely stormed home over the top of him. He's by So You Think. He's out of a German mare. Now, guys and girls, you may not follow the breeding at home and things like that, but if you can imagine a lot of the sprinter breeding, so the good sprinters will breed sprinters, a lot of the good stayers will breed stayers. Sometimes they cross over, but it's not too often. I just think that this horse has got absolute staying pedigree through the roof. So Craig Williams on board. It is $18 at the moment in markets. It is a huge gamble for me to put this horse in front of the likes of Shadow Time, Soul Patch, horses that are short in the market at around that $3 mark. So definitely my big gamble for the week. This will either make or break my SuperCoach season. So we'll see how he goes, but I'm going to give it a crack and try. And if this horse gets up in the Derby, hopefully Thought of Time can run second. I reckon I'll jump into the top 10 this week. So that's a big gamble. And then, yeah, guys, finally, Thought of Time now. A lot of talk in social media this week around the dumping of Linda Meach. Now, Linda Meach is a jockey who rode Thought of Time its last 2 starts. It won by 8 lengths at Donald, and it won last week by 4 lengths at Moonee Valley. To dump a jockey off a horse when she's in such good form is absolute tragedy. Now, forget that it's female, forget that it's a male jockey replacement. I couldn't give two fucking hoots whether she's transgender or anything like that. Like, dead set, that doesn't mean shit. But the fact is that they've taken a jockey that is in form and they've replaced her with Mark Zahra. Now, Mark Zahra is a great jockey in his own right, and the reasoning they've given is that he is more Group 1 experience. Now, unfortunately, you don't get Group 1 experience unless you ride in them. But, both Mark Zahra and Linda Meach have got about a 5% strike rate in Group 1s. Linda's only won one, but she's ridden only in about 20 races, whereas Mark's won about 15, I think 260 or 270 runs he's had. So, look, guys, again, I don't want to get political. I don't want to get sort of Twitter bashing and stuff like that on here. But, just my 2 cents. I don't think she should have been replaced. And, in fact, it was a little bit harder to put this horse in my team, the fact that she was replaced, because you know that she knows the horse so well and probably could have led all the way on it, because this horse will want to find the lead and just run everything else into the ground. So,
controversy corner with Josh this week.
Controversy corner, mate. We got it all. Guys, bit of verbal diarrhea. I've just gone through that nice and quick. Bogan, let's get on to your team, mate. What's the theme this week, buddy?
The theme this week is because this week a video game called The Outer Worlds. There's our anime girl again. A video game called The Outer Worlds by a studio called Obsidian was released, and I'm quite enjoying that. So it is a sci-fi
COD Modern Warfare thing.
No, this is a space-based RPG, so a role-playing game.
Right. Nice. Yeah. I don't mind role-playing. I've played.
I went space RPG based team this week. Now I was going to go a wrestling based team for our current competition leader.
Yes.
But I couldn't find enough horses that were like wrestlers' names. Now there's these 2 horses with Rock in their name that I was going to pick for that, but couldn't get a full 10. So yes, space based team this week. And
space-based team. There you go.
Yep. And
of course. You are the chosen one.
Yeah, there's a few Star Wars references in there. First one though is Star Trek with trekking.
Yeah, mate. As I said, look, Pirata was it was a toss of the coin, but for me between these 2 horses, I couldn't fit them both in with the budget. But mate, I reckon you could get a winner here. It could win this race, and mate, it's probably not a bad captain to have either, because I think if it doesn't win, it'll run second.
Well, I always just put my captain as my most expensive horse. Like, I got to get my money's worth out of it. Next was Fierce Impact, just because I saw that and I thought Impact of a Meteor or something like that.
Cool.
Star of the Seas, because of Star.
Yep.
Obviously.
Yep.
The Chosen One.
See video.
You were the Chosen One! It was said that you would destroy this and not join them!
Yep. Emperor's Way. See another video.
See video.
Good.
Cosmic Force.
See video.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
I don't know if I have a video for that.
We could do just run after run. We could just do snippets of Star Wars. You are the chosen one.
We'll end up,
the Emperor.
We'll end up, Disney will kill us.
You are a fat diabetic bear, and if the Chinese don't want you, then I don't either. Now who the fuck is Mr. Marsh?
Oh, that's me, Randy Marsh.
Who is this? I don't know you. Are you from Pixar?
No, I'm from South Park.
What's South Park? Do I own that?
No, not yet, sir.
Luna Mia, obviously, because Luna.
Yep.
Gift of Power, just because that seems like something the Emperor would say.
Not bad, mate. Nice.
Warning.
Yep.
And the reason I thought of that was the warning, danger.
Yeah.
And then I only had.
I'm liking it, mate. It's a good theme.
And then I only had $100,000 left, and I was going through, and I saw Plonker, and I thought, oh well, yeah, I'll chuck Plonker in there.
Fair enough, mate. Actually,
a horse called Plonker doesn't fill me with confidence, but I'll give him.
Mate,
a chance.
That's not a bad team at all. Look, there's a few. Obviously, we don't have any the same this week, and there's a few there that could knock off my horses or perform well. Like that Fierce Impact, it's in a really, really open race, the Cantala Stakes, but it won last start in the Toorak. It could win again. So, mate, I don't mind this. I could be in danger here. And, mate, this is the type of week I mentioned. This is probably the most open racing that we've got in Supercoach. So, you could come out, pop up 250 points, and I might not even crack the 200. So, yes, I might have to do the hot chip challenge or something next week.
We chuck them out. You're going to have to fish them out of the bin.
Yeah.
They've been there a while. But yeah, that's my team. As I said, it seemed to work for me all right last week. Didn't work quite as well for me the week before, but we'll see how we go.
Cool. And the BJ Game Day League, mate, we've obviously, guys, we've got the code down the bottom there. Anyone at home who hasn't joined up yet, feel free to add yourself in. Last week's scores, obviously, for us, myself, 241, Bogan, 213. Los Ingobernables is still on top. So, Chriso, well done, mate. What did he score?
He scored 230.
Right.
I believe the top score, and for some reason the site's not sorting properly when I do the last score. But let me scroll down. I believe it was Beard to be Feared with Nathan with 247 was the top scorer for the round last week.
So last week, I think there was one guy who cracked the 300, and I think he's leading overall now. So.
Did I?
Yeah, at the moment it's really, really tight at the top for the overall scores. But for the BJ and Game Day League, obviously Gleno stayed solid enough, 229 with Tiger for Life. The Fisher group there, 242, so he went quite well. All these guys in the top 200. Los Ingobernables, I'm never going to be able to say that. Top 20, so where is it? Ranked 16. So Come on, Chriso, that's good. You've jumped up a couple of spots, mate. Keep it going this week. Hopefully you can use our tips, mate. Hopefully, if you just want to copy Bogan's team, I'm sure that'll get you set up for the week. So you'll be first for sure.
Well, where are you sitting at the moment? Because there was an interesting thing you said during your team that you reckon this will shoot you into the top 10.
Yep, definitely.
You're only just in the top 10 of the league. You're sitting at 530 overall. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
If Long Jack wins
your top
the
10.
Victoria Derby, I will be in top 10 because the rest of my team will go well as well. I'm confident. I'm confident if Long Jack wins the Derby, I will score over 300 for the week, and I'll be in the top 10. So
not when everyone else picks it now.
No, mate. Everyone else won't have the balls to, I can tell you. At $18 in the Victoria Derby, Victoria Derby.
I apologise to the owners of Long Jack now because I'm just seeing those green screens being pulled up on that day. Now that you've given it a curse.
It will win. Craig Williams. No, not the green screen. No, they're not going. They're not going to break down and shoot it on track.
No, they're going to make a YouTube video with it with a green screen.
Fuck. Anyway, it's going to win. But no one else, dead set, there'll be no one else in the BJ League who'll tip it, who'll put it in their team. There you go. I hope you don't, actually. I don't want you to. That's not me challenging you to. I don't actually want you to, but I don't think you'll have the balls to either. So there you go. Just me and my little tip. I think a big thing for me, anyone, obviously Melbourne Cup next week, guys. We're going to do a big Melbourne Cup special Saturday night. So we're going to try and take it a bit away from Supercoach, but we're going to do a bit more of the Melbourne Cup.
And that should be up Monday morning.
Anyway, the reason I digress to that or tangent to that is because the breeding behind Long Jack, and I talked about it having a German dam. So you got the size, the male, the dam's the bitch. I shouldn't say bitch. I'm using greyhound terms, but the female, the mother, their mother. That's what I should call them. I love the German breeding for stayers. Look, there's been a fair few horses over the time that have performed well, German horses in the Melbourne Cup, and basically the Derby is the Melbourne Cup for 3-year-olds over 2,500 metres. At this kind of age, they're not really developed enough to run a strong 2,500 metres. So I think that breeding plays a massive part, and that's why I picked it. So there you go. But yeah, guys, we will do a massive special on the Saturday night on the Melbourne Cup. We're going to try and sort of keep it. Well, look, we'll base it around SuperCoach as well, but we do sort of want to do it for the general public too.
Yeah,
so we want plenty of people to sort of cover it in their office sweeps and stuff, and just to give people a bit of an idea. So yeah.
Yep. So this will be, just so people are aware, this will be the last regular episode.
Yes.
Because obviously you're going on a cruise after.
Yes.
So you'll miss the majority.
Mate, I'm going to miss the Melbourne Cup. They better have it on a TV on the cruise. I leave on the cruise Monday afternoon, guys, and
you'll be standing on the highest deck that you can get to, trying to get reception on a radio. I can just
tell you what, I'll be in the Wi-Fi room, the internet room all day on the Tuesday, punting away and trying to watch the Melbourne Cup and the races. So.
Yeah, but the last 3 rounds are covered during that week of the
same week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a little bit too tight of a schedule anyway for us to be able to do the shows the way that we do them. So this will be the last regular one. There'll be the Melbourne Cup Special, which will probably come out the Monday, and then we'll do a wrap-up show when you get back from your cruise, just to wrap up how the league went.
Yeah.
And
don't get me wrong, guys, like while I am on the cruise, I'm going to do my best to get plenty of content to you guys and everything like that as well.
That's what I was just about to say.
I love this time of year, so I just
stay tuned.
Cruise.
Stay tuned to the BJ on Game Day and the SuperCoach Racing Facebook pages, and Joshy will keep you updated there. And if you're really that keen to see what bullshit I picked, feel free to chuck me a tweet. I'm on Twitter talking shit with people most of the time. So
I still don't get Twitter. I've never really sort of embraced Twitter. I noticed the other day, actually, I was reading the news. I was on some news website reading the news, and I probably went through 10 stories, and every news story was basically they had their lead paragraph, and then they just say, this is what everyone else said on Twitter.
It's fucking bullshit.
Then they close paragraph.
Yeah,
like,
so you mentioned a few weeks ago
what's on Twitter.
You mentioned before you've got a journalism degree, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you should get into it, because it's fucking easy mode these days. Because you just fucking write, this is how people reacted. And it's like, I don't give a flying fuck about how people reacted to a story. Tell me what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Journalism's
dead. Good journalism, investigative journalism is absolutely dead. Yeah. It's just, let everyone do the work for you and let's take it off Twitter.
Well, and to be fair, though, we're probably... I'm not saying this in an ego way. I'm talking about YouTube in general, but we're probably contributing to that, because you can get better, more research journalism from YouTubers out there, depending on the subject that you're looking into.
Yep. Definitely.
So,
anyway,
controversy corner again.
There's our rant. We're ranting well this week. This week.
Poor viewers who tuned in just to hear about SuperCoach Racing get to hear our opinions on the state of journalism at the moment. But
definitely. But guys, jump on the Facebook pages. All the quick sheets through PointsBet will be up again. I'm pretty sure they've got a couple of specials up as well with regards to the punts. So if anyone wants to have a lash with them, unfortunately, obviously, you would have lost on the two last week. Bivouac not even winning, let alone winning by more than a length. And Mystic Journey in the Cox Plate, you got $4 for the top 4. It finished 5th. So anyone who took that lost their max bet $25. But mate, that's about it for this week, isn't it? Shut up, you idiot dog. That's my dog. Fucking Dobermans. Anyone ever wants to get a Doberman? Don't get it. You can have mine.
Get a greyhound instead. But I will add with the points bet once again. Gamble responsibly.
Can we get a little gamble responsibly tag up just here?
I'll put some graphic up. I'll put something.
Anyway,
I'll write it across your face.
We'll see how we go. Guys, what I do want to get a little bit of feedback about, now, this is very out of left field, but I don't know if anyone's aware of a page called Lords of Blackjack. Now, I don't want to do, obviously, any cross-promotion or anything like that, but jump onto Lords of Blackjack. It's on Facebook and stuff like that. These are guys who live stream sort of pokey playing and blackjack and roulette and baccarat. I'm just wondering if anyone would have any interest in watching that for horse racing, dogs, punting on those kinds of things. Now, it's a little bit harder because obviously to televise that stuff, broadcast rights and stuff is a little bit hard. But any guys who've got any ideas at home, I'm actually thinking about maybe starting it. So, whether I stream once a week on a night or on a Saturday, throw 1,000 or 2,000 in the kitty for that week and absolutely blast some punting and see how I go and hopefully get some winners.
And let us know any ideas, because we might even look at doing things like simulcasting. So we stream at that's where we stream at the same time that a sporting event is live on TV. So you can watch it on your TV, turn the sound down.
So you don't get like a delay.
Well, and we're not broadcasting any footage of theirs that would get us in trouble.
Can you do the sound?
No.
If you say, because I know these lads say, we don't own the rights to this music.
Yeah.
Can you say, we don't own the rights to this sound?
No.
I don't know.
No.
I got to figure out the legality behind it, but it's something I'm looking at doing in the new year.
It's a minefield. And because I was actually thinking of getting you and Brent to do that for footy games like the Origin and stuff like that. You have your live reactions to the Origin, and the viewers can be like they're sitting there watching the Origin with you guys.
Well, see, we actually talked about doing a goggle box edition last year. So when we first started doing BJ and Game Day, 2 years ago actually, me and the boys that were in our draft league, Brent, me, a couple of the other lads, what we thought was we'd get together around a few games and on the couches and do a goggle box edition, because we're all bloody idiots when we watch the footy. You're swearing at the TV, you're saying, I could have run that, but all kinds of shit. Basically going off at the refs, going off at Cameron Smith, everything like that. So we thought it just would have been good. We're going to put sort of together a 15, 20-minute snippet of it, but we never got it off the ground, so it may still be something we revisit.
Well, off on a bit of a tangent there at the end. I hope the regular viewers have got through to this part.
If anyone's still watching, let's cut it off there. Guys, girls, thank you very much for joining us. Remember to give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments. Reach out to me on Facebook. I'm talking to a fair few guys on Facebook through Messenger, so anyone's more than welcome to message. If you've got any late mail on a horse, anything like that, let us know, because we may chuck it in our team, because it's getting to the time of the season where we need a difference. So.
Any ideas at all, put them in the comments.
That's it. All right, guys, we'll catch you all on Saturday night. Cheers.